Sorry, y'all. I had to read the script. This is my first episode, whatever the case may be. But yeah, so today's topic is be aware when people only sign up to be with one version of you. Right? So I'm gonna start off with a little story time. It's not supposed to be really projecting anything. I want this to be a healthy kind of conversation, right? So I'm gonna start off with a story time. I'm gonna be talking about just this girl that I dated for about 2 to 3 years, right? So be aware when people only sign up to be with one version of you. When she met me, right? I was a I was a senior in high school. She was a freshman in college. So I was 1 year her junior, and we met whatever that summer as I was going into that senior year of high school. And I was a footballer. I played football for about 4 years. I think I just had my surgery previously, but we were also coming out of COVID. So this is 2021 where everybody started to get outside a little bit more and have a little bit more fun. And we met. I would say at that point in my life, I was a bit emotionally deficient coming out of COVID. It just, obviously it's a weird time. We all dealt with it, but more so, I feel like I didn't have too many real friends or too many people around me, which everybody might have that experience, right? But it was also a part of my ability to, or my capacity to receive love and also give love. So it's just cycling between those two. Right. So when she met me, I was a footballer. I was on my way to college and just a bit emotionally deficient. Um, a lot of things were normalized during that relationship, but essentially, the point is, as I began to evolve within myself, there was a lot of my evolution that wasn't encouraged. Right. So I'll just start with a few topics just to make a long story short. Right. There was times where, well, I could say especially after my football season, I had my injury and whatever the case may be. And I think all athletes go through that kind of, how to say, identity crisis where it's just like, damn, well, what do I do now? I kind of knew that I had other options, but I still had a little bit of, damn, what do I do now? So as I was applying to colleges and stuff like that, I would talk to her and be like, hey, I'm applying to this and a third. And I could see that she was a bit distant. And I would ask her, what's the matter? She said, like, you're going to college. I don't know this and a third. So she just wasn't directly involved in that process. But whatever the case may be, we made it work. We did long distance. But as I started to pick up new hobbies in college, I could see that we began to have a little bit of dissonance, right? I began to, DJ a little bit. And it's not like I became the best DJ on campus. No, I just wanted to learn because I'm a hard worker. I like to learn to do things with my hands. I like to just find different hobbies, find different things to master, and then I let it go. So I began to DJ. She wasn't really into it. Like she would be like, bro, what are you doing? That New York City type of kinship where it's like, as New York City people, we'd probably be like, yo, what's up, ugly? And it's just all love, you know? But I started growing out of that kind of love where it's like, I don't want our relationship, that friendship, connection to be based on how well we joke on each other. You know what I'm saying? It's just how well can we support each other? That's where I'm at now, and that's where I feel like I've always been, but been afraid to say, right? So yeah, it would be different things. I even started doing poetry. I started joining organizations. It was a type of thing where she wanted me home at a certain time. It was just one of those things, but it was like, we're long distance, the FOMO, what time should we call each other? This person's at work. I have family obligations, whatever the case may be. But it wasn't a basis of encouragement. It wasn't a basis of, oh yes, try these, try this thing. Let your soul experience everything that it wants to experience while you're here. You only get one time to be in college. I'm not saying go crazy, but that support would have been, lovely at that time. So I started to, do dancing, acting, singing, all the things, and it was just a lot of that, joking around, whatever the case may be. So to make a long story kind of short in the story time, right? At the end, we had gotten back together so many times, but we were officially coming to an end at this point. We were saying our apologies and all our goodbyes, which they were cordial at the time. I'm not going to say too much about the end, but they were cordial at the time. And she said something that really stayed with me. It really made my spine kind of shudder. And by the way, if y'all see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my iPad. I want to make sure that y'all get a constant flow of information. Sometimes I can ramble and yap a little bit and feel like I'm talking too much or not, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, she said something that made my spine kind of shudder. She said, I'm sorry I had trouble seeing you as someone different than the person I met you as. And that kind of stuck with me because when she met me, I was a senior in high school, playing football, doing all these things. And that is the person that she was attracted to. That is the person that may have caught her attention. And then I started to grow into all of these different parts, read more, do more. And it was just, it could be hard for anyone to take on, especially if you did not sign up for that, right? So to just to connect it with the rest of the story, right? With the rest of the theme, be aware when people only sign up to be with one version of you. This is not to knock her or knock anybody, but I feel like it's very common in friendships. It's very common in partnerships. It's very common, really, at the root of it, family dynamics. During a pivotal period where you might need the most freedom in your life as you explore adulthood, I really feel like a lot of parents lose their children in that period of, obviously, puberty, but as you're growing into your person, as you're growing more into an adult, the parents, since they have fed you, they took you to school, they did basically everything for you, it's hard for them to see you as something else than maybe what they had an idea of you being, the blueprint that they may have had for you subconsciously. So when you start to, spread your wings, move out of that lane, it gets hard for them to see. Like, not that they only signed up to be with one version of you, but maybe their ego can only tolerate one version of you within their diaphragm, whatever the case may be. So yeah, so I feel like as I started to grow, I started to read more and things like that. I started to understand that the point of loving someone is to be a witness, to encourage their spiritual growth and their development. What they feel like they want in this lifetime or want to be within this lifetime. The point of love is really freedom, encouragement. Of course, reciprocation comes with it, but love should flow through you, not come to you, right? So, how are we, how to say, being a witness to what your friends, what your partner, what your family members want to take on within this lifetime? You might find yourself on either end. You might find yourself being a person that is boxed in, or the person that is boxing someone in, and you might not be doing it intentionally. I'm not saying that you are somehow malicious, but we somehow sometimes feel entitled to someone's growth and development in the way that we can properly perceive them, in a way that is comfortable for us. So how are we being aware of when these ideals are cast onto us, but also when we cast it onto other people? And it's also important to acknowledge, another point that I wanted to make is that you are not one person, right? You are not the person that you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even 3 months ago, 2 months ago. I feel like, if you're on the path to growing in life and just receiving information as you get it, and just you experience things just through living, right? You are not the same person, right? You are multiple people existing in the present, the past, and the future. You have multiple personalities and personas. Not to say like, oh my gosh, there's the stigma, multiple personality disorder, whatever the case may be, bipolar disorder. I feel like it's beautiful to have those range of emotions, have access to them from God. And now we can tap into all that. You can tap into the anger, the sadness, the happiness, the frantic, the dancing, the sad, all of the emotions. You can tap into all of them. So another thing I wanted to add is, if I had stayed in that relationship, it would have been harder for me to grow, to give my soul what it needed to get in order to evolve in this lifetime, in my opinion. So I would just say, in any connection that you have, you must have discernment. Do you want to be imprisoned by the perception that they have of you, or would you love to take them with you? So that's just an important conversation to have. Also, would you want to imprison somebody's soul, somebody, what they're meant to be in this lifetime? Would you want to imprison them within your idea of what you have for them to be? Or would you want them to be able to grow, do all of the things that you're meant to experience on earth? You are not meant to be a religion, right? You're not meant to be Christian. You're not meant to be, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever the case may be. You're not meant to be just a person in a box. Same thing for artists. You're not meant to be an R&B artist. You're not meant to be a rap artist or just one thing. You can be multiple things all at once, and there's beauty in that. There's freedom in that. Even Doshi, if y'all know Doshi, the rapper, the singer, everything that she wants to be, even an actor. All of the things, I don't know all of her descriptions, but she had a song that's like, if I could remember the exact song, it was her going through all the things in her mind where people want her to sing more or they want her to rap more, and she's just like, I can't really pick between rapping or singing. I want to do all things. I want to do both things. I want to do everything. And she even had a song where she said, I'm everything. Like, it's a beautiful thing. And the soul wants to be everything that it can be, that it is comfortable with being, and also uncomfortable with being. So I'm about to end this episode, right? But I want to end every episode with a call to action. What can we do in our personal life, just so that this is not entertainment. This is not just something for you to watch. This is not just me yapping to get, 0 views, 3 views on YouTube, and all three is from me. You know what I'm saying? It is just to kind of put this energy out into the universe, and however it is received, it is received. So, a call to action so that we can grow all together is to do one thing that is uncomfortable, right? And that one thing might be talking to a friend where you might feel like their dynamic keeps you boxed in. A common example is one where, you might have a friend that, or you might have a friend group that y'all all bond by smoking together. Y'all might all bond by partying together. And you might see as you start to change and say, you know what, I'm not trying to smoke tonight. I just went through something terrible within my family. I'm not jacking this tonight. You might see them look at you a little strange, like, all right, I guess we won't invite you, or, damn, bro, like, you really not gonna smoke at least one time, peer pressure. We don't talk about peer pressure in like a real way and just the, what you might feel. Anyways, do one thing that is uncomfortable. That is not to cut people off or say like, nah, bro, you don't respect who I am or who I'm trying to grow to be. If it gets to that, listen, it gets to that. But I'm saying, talk to them, have the conversation. Somebody had said this to me one time, and it sticks with me forever. Conflict can be a ladder, right? So it's like maybe we might have tension at first, but we can also deepen our relationship. If I tell you like, hey, I'm gonna start doing this, and maybe you start doing this, and that person does not, how to say, support you, that can be a conversation. Like, hey, I feel like you aren't as supportive as I would have expected you to be within this journey, and it kind of hurts me. Be real and be authentic. It makes me feel a bit sad. Speaking feelings, not speaking blame. You bugging out. You not even liking my, no, none of that. Speak in feelings. And that can be just, it can just it can just be a deep conversation for the both of y'all. They might get tired, like, bro, look at all the times that I, took you to the hospital, or, didn't I pick you up the other day? I'm talking about right now, the present. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to give the past so much power that it shapes how we're able to identify with each other right now. I'm telling you how I feel right now. So yeah, that could be somewhat of a litmus test in your family relationships, in your regular partnerships, whatever the case may be. But it can be not a test, because that a test is like kind of manipulative, but more so a test for yourself, for your soul. How much can you speak up for yourself? How much can you speak up for that inner child, for that one that feels like, I gotta keep my thoughts to myself. It's like being in class and you raise your hand and put your hand down because you think you don't have the right answer. You have the right answer. It's in you, right? And another thing I wanted to share with y'all, which, it might just be another episode as I go down this journey, is you can either grow apart or grow together. I've heard that from somebody somewhere. I don't know where I hear these things. I know that I consume a lot of these things. I want to give credit to the right people, but it just, I just get it. Anyways, you can either grow apart or grow together. And something in psychology said the average friendship lasts about a span of 7 years. And if you think about your friendships, think about ones that may have lasted shorter or maybe a little bit longer. Nobody is really friends forever. But I'm not saying everybody has that same common experience. So you can either grow apart or grow together. So I feel like it's easier to be authentic. It's easier to be straight up, straightforward, and we all gonna die one day. Anyways, yeah, that's all I really have to share today. That's episode 1. You feel me? I hope y'all enjoyed it. It's my first time really being out here expressing my ideas. I feel almost naked. I feel like that's how it can be with art. You can feel naked. You can feel like, what am I saying? Am I saying the right thing? Am I talking for too long? I'm gonna check afterwards. I'm looking at myself like, damn, I shouldn't have said that, or damn, I stuttered too much. But no, your life is art. Your ears are art. That's the name of the podcast, right? Because everything, if you look at life like that, it'll just be that. Anyways, that's all I have for today. The only church announcements that I have really is that my album is out, my EP is out, art project, whatever the case may be. The name of it is Closure, 9 songs. I worked on it in my bedroom in Queens. It's supposed to be like a poetic R&B with a touch of hip hop vibe. I was really hoping to be intentional with this work. I don't want it to be like a dot dot dot. I'm talking about this and that third, which it helps. I'm not talking about heterosexism in love, like the average heterosexist ideas of love. I want to kind of have a blameless love when I'm talking, or when I'm doing my poetry, when I'm doing my art, all of that. So take a listen if you really want to. If not, it's all your choice. You know what I'm saying? But the name of it is Closure. under Selah. Amara Soul. It's been real. Until then, be safe. Love on yourself. Remember, you are what you eat. You are what you consume. Hence the title, Your Ears Are Art. Use your mind as a canvas. Let the type of energies you want in your life flow through you. Become one with it with your intentionality. Okay?